Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Hiram Marquez. I'm an assistant director of admission here at the University of Denver in the Office of Undergraduate Admission, and it is my pleasure to be here today. Thank you all for coming, taking time out of your day to be here. Just a few house rules. You'll have the opportunity to enable closed captioning by clicking down in the bottom of that Zoom screen. If you have any questions at any point during this session, feel free to also click bottom of that Zoom screen. There's a Q&A box that you can click and ask any questions that you may have. In addition, I will be sure to post any comments into the chat box if anything needs to be said during the session. Without any further ado, I just want to welcome our guest. He's the Associate Chair of Biochemistry and Chemistry Department, Dr. Todd Wells. With that, Dr. Wells, the floor is yours.
All right, let me. Okay, good evening to everyone. I thought I'd just start off a little bit here at the beginning and take some time to talk about our various degree programs. Of course, feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I'm going to go through this fairly rapidly here, and then if we need to, we can go back and look at it in more detail. As you can see on this first slide, we have really 6 different degrees in the chemistry and biochemistry department. A Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, and then we have 2 American Chemical Society approved degrees. One of them is a chemistry only, and then the other one has a biochemistry concentration. These, say, degree 3 and 4, the 2 ACS degrees, have fewer choices in terms of electives that you can do and more degree requirements. But they're a little bit more versatile degrees in terms of long-term employment and things like industry and so forth. We also have a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Chemistry. And as we go through this, we'll hopefully you'll see this environmental chemistry degree is very different than, say, a bachelor's degree in environmental science. This is a true chemistry degree. And then we also have a Bachelor of Arts degree. As we take a look at these, one of the nice things about all of our degrees is the first couple of years of the degrees are very similar, and students can actually move from one degree to another pretty easily. So taking a look first here at the Bachelor of Science in Chemistry degree, we have a first year of chemistry, which is General Chemistry 1 and 2. At many schools, General Chemistry will be a full year. Here at DU, our first year of chemistry is 2 freshman level or first year level chemistry classes. And then you go into an actual second year or 2000 level class called Chemistry of the Elements. These classes are all 4 credit hour classes. They're essentially 3 credit hour lectures with the 4th credit hour being a lab component. And then the second year of the program would go into organic chemistry. There's a quantitative analysis class. In those first 2 years, there's also math requirements, there's calculus, there's also physics requirements. And then when you get into the third year, you would go into our physical chemistry sequence and instrumental analysis. And the fourth year is pretty open. There's kind of our capstone course called Chemistry Frontiers. Now, ultimately, do you have to take all these classes in this order? The first 2 years, yes. You pretty much have to do the chemistry courses in the first um, 2 years in the order that it's shown. But many of the third year courses could be pushed to the fourth year if you wanted to, or if, for example, you decided to study abroad during your third year. Our Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry degree, sorry, went one too far. Um, One of the things that you'll see in this degree is the fall and winter and spring quarter of the first year in terms of the chemistry classes. They're the same three courses. The calculus requirements are the same. The big difference are the biology courses that you need as prerequisites for biochemistry that you take later on. And then there's the organic chemistry classes and quantitative analysis. So again, the second year in terms of the chemistry classes are very similar to the BS in chemistry. You pick up a couple more biology classes that are needed, and then you go on into the third year where you have three biochemistry classes, a biochem lab, and only one of the physical chemistry. Of course, any of those classes in the third year that are not prereqs for another one could be moved into the fourth year. And typically, a lot of our students who are studying abroad will actually take some of these classes in the fourth year. The first two of the biochemistry classes are offered multiple times, so you do have opportunities and some flexibility there. There's some electives that you have to take. Most Bachelor of Science degrees at the University of Denver will come with the requirement for two minors. The biochemistry degree, because of the number of biology classes that you're taking, actually only requires one additional minor because you essentially receive enough biology credit hours that you can use that as your other minor. Now you still have to declare it. We don't like to use the term automatic minor, but you do have those credit hours that can be used to fulfill one of the two minor requirements for a Bachelor of Science. Then we go into our ACS degree. And again, with the American Chemical Society degree, as compared to, say, our original Bachelor of Science degree, first year's identical. Second year is very similar as well. The third year is also very similar, except for in the ACS degree, you now see there's a little bit of biochemistry that's added and some additional elective requirements. We have several other chemistry classes that are offered as 3,000 level courses that can be used to fill those electives. And then when we go into our biochemistry concentration, most of this degree is identical to the previous one. The big difference is instead of just biochemistry of proteins and the biochem lab being required, you now have two more biochemistry classes that are required and the biology courses. So essentially, this ACS biochemistry degree or ACS chemistry with a biochemistry concentration is like doing a Bachelor of Science in biochemistry, but still meeting the American Chemical Society's requirements for chemistry. So essentially, with this degree, you are a very well-prepared chemist that is also a biochemist. And then we can kind of move into our environmental chemistry degree. And again, very similar degree program. The first year can actually be very similar to this, where there's chemistry of the elements as the third class. We now have actually an intro to environmental chemistry class that you could substitute for that chemistry of the elements. So that would be one difference between this degree and all the other ones. You would still do the organic chemistry. And then in the third year, you would pick up a physical chemistry class, and then an atmospheric chemistry, an environmental toxicology class, an aquatic chemistry class. We're actually starting for next year an aerosol particle chemistry class as well, that could be utilized in this environmental chemistry degree program. And then when we go to the last degree that I'm going to talk about today, and that is our BA in chemistry, one of the kind of hallmarks of this one compared to the other ones is there are fewer chemistry credit hours required. The first year is very similar to most of the other degrees in terms of the chemistry and the math requirements. Second year is also very similar in terms of the organic chemistry and physics. You're only required one of the physical chemistry, a quantitative analysis, and then you have to do either biochem lab or instrumental analysis, and there's no chemistry frontiers. So this degree gives you some of the same requirements as the BS, but it's not as an in-depth degree program. All right, now that is, in a nutshell, all of our degree programs. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer any of your questions.
And I can get the ball rolling here with questions. What do students do after graduating? What are some careers that students potentially get into?
Well, I mean, a lot of that will depend, of course, on the particular degree program that they're doing, but many of our students, especially the biochemistry majors, many of them will go on into pre-professional health programs. They might want to go to medical school, pharmacy school, dental school, or things like that. Many of our students will go on to graduate school. In terms of going straight out of the bachelor's degree into the workforce, we do have some that go and work for environmental chemistry companies. There's many students that go on to teach science, either at the high school level or middle school level. We've had students that go and work for pharmaceutical companies, instrument design companies, many other areas. But you can also go into areas beyond just applying the science. You can actually go into policy kind of areas as well. So environmental policy, and I actually know a couple of students who went to law school because they decided they wanted to be patent attorneys. So there's many different areas that you can do. Okay, in terms of how many students that go on to grad school or say medical school, I would say in terms of any of our undergrad majors that are trying to go on to another level of school. The majority of them are probably trying to get into something like medical school or some other pre-professional health program, like a physician's assistant program um, or some area like that. We've had, of course, students go on to veterinary school and those things. Um, we do get so I would say the majority that we have initially that's the area they want to go to. Medical school is very competitive though. Um, so in terms of exact numbers, I couldn't tell you that, but we have a lot that's their intent. And our students are very competitive, at least the good students. Um, in terms of graduate school, um, we have had in the last couple of years probably somewhere in the area of, you know, 20 to 30% of our undergrads who desire to go on to graduate school, and the majority of them will find a graduate program that they get admitted to. Do they all go on to graduate school in chemistry or biochemistry? No. Some of them will go on to in biophysics, biology, or some other program like that. Um, okay, so what sets DU's chemistry program apart from other programs? We heard about DU's R1 research facilities. Um, well, I would say one of the biggest things that separates the University of Denver from many other R1 research institutions is that we are still in many ways at heart um, a school that values undergraduate education. And because of that, there are many opportunities for undergraduates to do research in our research labs. It's encouraged. Actually, a lot of the degree programs that I showed you include a course called Chem 3995, which is our undergraduate research class. Um, so you can actually be in a research lab conducting research right alongside graduate students. Yes, you can do that at large state or much larger private R1 universities. But in many cases, you as an undergraduate won't always have the opportunity to interact directly with the professor who's running that research lab. And in this case, you will. In the case of DU, you will also have those professors who are running those research labs as your professors in the classroom. So that is, I think that does separate DU from many R1 research institutions. And I think in terms of the next question about are there research lab opportunities for biochemistry and chemistry majors, I think I already really touched on that in the last answer. There are many research opportunities. We also will work often with students if their research interests lie outside of the university. For example, we have had over the last 20 something years a few students who already had some kind of interaction with researchers at the University of Colorado Health Science Center or some other research institution in the area. And we've worked with the students and with those the whatever these research facilities are with the director of those labs and so forth to provide the student the opportunity to actually get an undergrad research experience more tailored to what they would actually like. Okay, in terms of for medical school, going biological sciences or biochemistry. Um, both those degrees will meet the minimum requirements to get into a medical school program. Um, my experience over the years is that if you did equally well in a biological science degree versus a biochemistry degree, in other words, your GPAs were very similar, you will be a bit more competitive with a biochemistry degree than you would with a biological science degree. Um, the other aspect of this is that the biological um, the BS in biology does not necessarily require you to take a biochem class, but med schools require it for admission. So you'd be taking some of the biochemistry anyways, and you have to have the chemistry prerequisites for it. Um, so I think it makes you a bit more competitive. Um, does that mean we don't have biology majors that get in? No, our biology majors are also very competitive. Um, do we have internships available with local companies? We actually do in our department have in an internship coordinator. His name is Brian Cowan. And um, and we also have faculty members who have research collaborations with local companies. So there are opportunities for internship programs in the area. Um, those are things that if you want to set that up, you have to start that conversation pretty early, and don't don't wait until the quarter you want to do it or the year you want to do it, but start the conversation early. Try to get the ball rolling in terms of getting those set up. But if you're interested in that, Professor Brian Cowan is the one that you would talk to, and you can find his contact information on our website. Okay, in terms of if you're interested in chemical engineering, um, you can do a BS in engineering and a minor in chemistry. That isn't really going to be an equivalent of a chemical engineering degree, but it would at least give you some of it. Most of our engineering majors are required to take at least 1/4 of chemistry. For a minor, you'd have to do at least 20 credit hours. Um, so it would give you an opportunity, but I would not say that doing an engineering degree with a chemistry minor would make you competitive for jobs that are requiring a chemical engineering degree. Okay, if in terms of the study abroad and the ACS biochem kind of major, it is difficult, but it is not impossible. Essentially, with any of our BS in chemistry, biochemistry degrees, whether they're the regular BS degrees or the ACS ones, if you want to study abroad, then what you really would have to do is plan ahead and say, okay, I come in, I'm a first year student at the university. I want to study abroad the fall of my third year. Okay, I'm going to have to start taking some of these classes in advance now. And if we were to kind of back up here and look at this biochem degree, you can see that in this degree, in terms of year 4, that there's some flexibility there. One of the things that can be done is some of these classes in the third year can be pushed into the fourth year so that you could study abroad. The biochem of proteins class is offered in winter quarter as well. And the mem and biochemistry M&M, which is membranes and metabolism, is offered in the spring quarter as well as in the winter quarter. Um, so you can push those, take them in winter and spring, study abroad in the fall, and then do the PChem class in the PChem classes in your uh, fourth year. So it's possible, and we've had students who've done the both the ACS degrees, whether there's the biochem concentration or not, we've had them study abroad. But let me reiterate that generally speaking, the best time if you are a science major to study abroad is going to be one of the fall quarters, because many of the science courses have prerequisites. They have to be taken in a sequence. And if you go abroad in for winter, your problem is you miss 2 quarters on campus versus the semester you're abroad. Whereas if you go abroad in the fall, that semester only covers one of our quarters. Does chemistry have an NMR? The chemistry department actually has two NMRs. We have both a 500 and a 600 megahertz NMR. So we can do things from small molecule NMR all the way into protein NMR. I think I got everybody's question.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing all of that really great information with us, Dr. Wells. And thank you all to all the participants and everyone that asked questions today. But with that being said, that's it for our session today. Have a great day, everyone, and be safe out there.
Bye. Thank you.